A bigger escalation in the Ukraine war is on the cards. Not from Russia's end this time, but from Ukraine. Kiev seems to be finally getting its wish. It has the weapons to strike deep inside Russia, but Ukraine was being held back by the West, specifically the United States. The US did not allow Kiev to use long-range weapons to attack Russia. That seems to be changing now. The US is finally coming around. Yesterday, Antony Blinken was in Kiev. That's the US Secretary of State. And he wasn't traveling alone. With him was British Foreign Secretary David Lammy. They met Ukraine's President Zelensky, and after the talks, Blinken dropped a big hint.
We have adjusted and adapted as needs have changed, as the battlefield has changed, and I have no doubt that we'll continue to do that as this evolves.
America says it is willing to adapt. What does that mean? It's being seen as a green light for Ukraine to use Western weapons, for it to launch long-range strikes inside Russia. This would push the war deep into Russian territory. It could completely shift the battlefield, with Western weapons being used against Russia. Basically, we're talking about missiles here. Ukraine has two of them ready to go. The Storm Shadow, which is an Anglo-French missile, and the American-made ATACMS missiles. Both can hit long-range targets. They can travel as far as 190 miles, which is well over 300 kilometers. With that range, multiple targets would be in Ukraine's range, like airfields, large military bases, communication stations, logistics centers, fuel depots, ammunition warehouses. Potentially, there are 250 military targets. If Ukraine decides to hit them, it could cripple the Russian military. Kiev, for sure, believes that this could be a game changer, that long-range strikes could end the war quickly.
To defend our people, brave steps from all our partners are necessary. It's important to lift all restrictions on the use of American and British weapons against lawful targets on Russian territory. We need decisiveness also in regards to shooting down Russian missiles and drones in Ukrainian airspace. The further Ukraine can strike, the closer a just peace will be.
America has been reluctant to do this. It has been wary of long-range attacks inside Russia, but in recent weeks, the US has been under pressure, mainly from its partners in Europe. You see, Ukrainian forces are stretched. Their incursion into Russia's Kursk region was successful. But now Ukraine is facing pressure in the east. Russian forces are closing in on Pokrovsk. This is a key Ukrainian city, an important gateway to the Donbas region. So Ukraine needs some urgent help, first to defend its territory and second to protect its gains inside Russia. Western missiles can make a difference on both fronts. There is another factor at play here, Iran's support to Russia. The West says Iran is supplying missiles to Russia. These are short-range ballistic missiles. Apparently, Moscow recently received 200 of them. These are the Fath 360 missiles. Reports say Russia could use them in Ukraine, that too within weeks.
The United States has confirmed reports that Iran has transferred shipments of Fatah 360 close-range ballistic missiles to Russia, which we assess could employ them within weeks against Ukraine, leading to the deaths of even more Ukrainian civilians.
Iran has rejected these claims, but the West does not believe Iran. 4 countries have imposed fresh sanctions on Tehran: the US, the UK, France and Germany. But to what end? Had sanctions been effective, this war would have ended a long time back. All eyes are now on the Kremlin and Vladimir Putin's next move. In the past, Putin has drawn clear red lines for the West and issued several warnings. A few weeks back, Russia's foreign minister issued a reminder as well.
This is blackmail. This is an attempt to pretend that the West wants to avoid excessive escalation, but in reality it is deceit. The West does not want to avoid escalation. The West, as they say, is asking for it.
Asking for what? A wider war in the region? With Putin, you cannot rule it out. If Ukraine launches a long-range strike inside Russia, Moscow would view this as a direct attack by the West. And Vladimir Putin may decide to respond, possibly with nuclear weapons. He's made this threat before. But now the West seems to be willing to take its chances. Consider what the CIA chief said this month. That's Bill Burns. He called Putin a bully and dismissed his nuclear threats as saber-rattling. The West and Russia are now on a direct collision course, and this could have serious consequences.